Welcome to Recovery Rising with Kelly and Reva, a podcast dedicated to exploring the journey of eating disorder recovery through real stories, advocacy, and awareness.
I'm Reva Van Vliet.
And I'm Kelly Doss.
And in these episodes, we share our lived experiences. We are not medical professionals, so if you or a loved one is experiencing an eating disorder, please reach out to a licensed professional who specializes in eating disorders. And we always try to include resources that we trust as well.
Yeah, so this week's episode.
Yes.
Diet culture. It's just very pervasive. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Gosh, yes.
30 billion in the US alone, $70 billion industry worldwide. So you probably can't go too far or scroll too much without having some sort of advertisement in your face. And I know for me as a woman, just how intrusive it is, how much it's affect things like self-esteem, self-worth, especially growing up. I mean, it's hard enough growing up these days, but when you're hearing it younger and younger, just the effects not only on your physical health, but the mental health, the self-worth and the self-esteem and the body image is just...
Exactly. Yeah. And diet culture is sneaky and it's ever changing. Like I was thinking about this today before we came here, how, you know, in the 90s, it was just like, these certain fad diets. And it felt like every adult that I was around was on a diet or made comments about their body or my body. And it was like just so much. I mean, we always, joke about being raised as a 90s kid and have but now it just feels sneaky and feels like it's everywhere. I mean, like you said, like the media and it's hard to scroll without seeing something in your face about whether it's an ad or even an influencer, but even just like the way we talk in schools and in social settings. And I think that like today, my perception is that it is really sneaky because it's often disguised as like wellness.
Absolutely.
We're going to get you well and we're going to, we're eating clean. We're not dieting, we're eating clean. And that's like, oh man, that's scary.
Yes, it's no surprise that orthorexia is on the rise. This just obsession with eating so healthy. And not that healthy eating is bad, but when it gets to the point when, it's just an obsession or it's just so disruptive to your daily life and it depends on, what social settings you're in. So when it becomes disruptive, that's when it gets into that mode of eating disorder behavior. So
exactly. And health, just like we discuss our recovery and all these other pieces that we chat about on the episode, health is so nuanced for everybody. And I think what diet culture does is it equates like a certain body size or type to unhealthy or healthy. And it feels like that just perpetuates so much bias around people in bigger bodies or even just people of different backgrounds, socioeconomic statuses. And like I get so angsty about it because it permeates everything that we do as a society. And yeah,
absolutely. When you were talking about being a 90s kid too, I was probably a little bit more of an 80s kid myself, but I remember Barbie dolls.
Yes.
And I would get Barbie dolls as presents and things but I didn't really like them. This is kind of a funny story. And I'm sorry for whoever got me Barbie dolls as a kid, because I would take them and I would cut their hair.
Oh yeah.
I would put
I do the same thing.
I think even as a little kid, I knew this is just not right. The disproportionate body size. And no, we aren't supposed to have our stomach be the size of a quarter. I really like She-Ra, Princess of Power, like the straw.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and that's funny you brought up Barbie dolls because we just got through Christmas and we gifted, and my daughter was gifted Barbie dolls from various family members, but they've changed over time, which is so awesome. And they're just more like body and just like inclusive in general, just reflect the kids that are playing with them. And which is great. But then that ties into just like how capitalistic diet culture is and opportunistic too. I mean, it's just it does really prey on the insecurities. And I think that's like where it ties into disordered eating and eating disorders, because of course eating disorders are multifaceted mental health illness, but that kind of sociocultural influence really plays a part in when we're talking about diet culture and looking at eating disorders.
Yes, you bring up opportunistic and capitalistic. So you think about the drugs that are out there now that we hear so much about, whether it's Ozempic, Jaro. But I mean, this is even unique to diet. You think about even Viagra, which originally years ago was meant to be a high blood pressure pill, but now they saw the opportunity to make much more money off of using it for something else. And that's the same with Ozempic. It was meant to be a type 2 diabetes medication. But when people saw the side effects, it just became this opportunity. So instead of having the intended medical effect for type 2 diabetes and probably a few other things too, it's seen as a lose weight quick. This is a quick fix, and
and then when we're seeing celebrities, again back to opportunistic, use their platform, celebrities that were like once seen as, and are still seen as, like strong, powerful people, use their platform to promote these weight loss drugs or diets. But in this situation, I think we're both thinking of one celebrity, and it's like, these are what our daughters are seeing, our young people, ourselves. We're just being inundated with that.
I think us growing up, it was probably a bit more forward in that your value was seen, or your value, your worth was seen in your appearance. But you're right, it's kind of the narrative's being changed. This is wellness, and it's like, well, you're still using the same methods, you're just changing how
exactly it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. Or like I see that all the time on social media, like influencers or people in my community, like it's not weight loss, but the benefit could be a little bit of a weight, like it's just anything that is very like rigid, even if it's disguised as not being rigid, like black and white. It's meant to change your body. I mean, that's diet culture. And like you said, I mean, like a teenager buying Cosmo tea, and it's all plastered on the front page. It was like, shrink your waist size, or like this, like, make this guy like you. And of course, we, like, as women, it is like just like spewed at us from a young age. But I think across genders, especially today, the way that like diet culture and the wellness industry works, it is like targeted at just to everybody that will buy into it.
And we were talking about this a little bit earlier too, about the cycle effect. It's just lose weight quick, and then if you're not losing the weight, there's the shame and body dissatisfaction, and then it just kind of keeps cycling to keep people buying into this get thing quick, the dieting culture. So
exactly. And so then when we're talking about like in being in recovery, or even if you're not, even you say like, I don't have a diagnosed eating disorder, even if you're just trying to raise kids, children, and or even just navigate this crazy world, this like overrun by diet culture, it's like really overwhelming. And so especially when you're trying to kind of heal your relationship with food and your body, and then it's like really normalized. I mean, it's like we hear like, oh, like, wow, you must be really self-disciplined, you're not having dessert, or like even the hustle culture, like wake up and run and like do your ice bath and like all this stuff. And so not doing that kind of, like you said, fuels that cycle of like shame, you're not good enough. And it can feel like, for me at least, it can feel really uncomfortable speaking up about it, because it is so normalized.
Especially when thinness is just equated with health and happiness. BMI is often an indicator of health, but that's not the only measurement we should be using. because we
No.
talk more and more about health is not just physical health.
Mm-mm.
It is the whole person. So that's
Mhm.
your mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health.
Yep.
So to just say, oh, you have this BMI, you're healthy. Well, not necessarily.
No, exactly. Yes. And people in bigger bodies can be
Mhm.
just as healthy. And
Yes.
yeah, I mean, it is. And it's very fat phobic
Mhm.
to use those indicators of health.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen plenty of people who might have a higher BMI, but they are just muscular and healthy. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
it's just all these things. So
Yes, exactly.
you're right. It's not the only measurement we should be
No.
going by any means.
Yeah. And I was even like thinking, you know, as a mom raising children and especially trying to break my cycle of an eating disorder and perpetuating like, yeah, these unwanted thoughts about my body. So raising children and bringing them to the dentist. Then the dentist is like, "Oh, you got to cut out sugars and, you know, crackers." And like they have a image of like a big X through like crackers and juice. And in my home, we are all foods fit. All foods fit because I was raised as like most foods don't fit, you know, and not by my parents, but by society. And so me just being a parent, it feels like you're constantly having to correct at home because diet culture is everywhere, from the dentist to the doctor's office, to, you know, even like Lila, my daughter, was watching YouTube Kids the other day, and there was a video about like, you know, cookies are bad and apples are good, or like running to make up for whatever you ate on Christmas. And these are videos geared towards kids. So it's not even like, you know, it's not even a grown adult getting marketed like Ozempic. It's these young kids. And that's just seen as like a teaching moment, even though
Absolutely.
it's just,
yeah. I think that's a really good point too. Moralizing food, good food,
yes,
bad food. Food is just food. It's, you know, you try to eat the ones in the food pyramid, you know, your grains, your fruits, your vegetables more often. But that doesn't mean if you have a food that's, you know, has a little bit of sugar in it or whatever, that it's bad. You just don't eat it for every meal.
Yeah.
So it's just really getting rid of those labels of good food, bad food. It's really just the moderation piece of it. So
yeah, exactly. And that's going to look different for everybody too. So like just, I mean, we can't look to wellness influencers, especially when they're like just wellness influencers and they don't have like just us. We share that we're not professionals.
Right.
We're talking about our own thoughts and opinions and lived experiences. But it is scary when like social media is just like, there's like this, you know, like the wellness babes that are out there selling things that they probably don't have any place selling or promoting or offering medical advice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course the algorithms too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, how just looking at one thing can lead to something.
Yes.
And it's just inundated into your feeds.
Exactly. And I think that like I'm very obviously like what I look at and interact with on social media is very like pro recovery, anti-diet culture, but I'll still get like the like Serena Williams, you know, like advertisements for whatever diet thing she's selling. And like I just worry about the, you know, anybody that is vulnerable to that. It's just, it is scary out there.
Yeah. I know, it's like, so what can we do?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, we talked about some things like, you know, the way we look at food is one. You know, as you said, modeling and messaging, those teaching moments with young people. Internet wasn't a thing when I was a kid. Certainly was as I was going through recovery. So, but yeah, that's actually an episode that we'll be covering is what is being taught in schools. So I think that's just something that we can look into as well.
Exactly.
Social media is a big one.
Yes.
I think you have talked about several times, just kind of keeping track of how much time we spend on there and what we look at. Too. And I think also too, you know, what kind of self-talk are we doing to ourselves?
Yes.
You know, for me, especially early in recovery, if I did something wrong, I'd say, oh my gosh, I'm so fat.
Yeah.
So paying attention to our self-talk, because once we get into those little rabbit holes too. It just makes it easier to kind of lean towards food as the coping mechanism. So pay attention to yourself.
That's a really good point, because and even when I was really struggling in my eating disorder, I was always very vocal about anti-diet culture, and I was very vocal about pro recovery, but I obviously just wasn't in a space where I was doing that yet. I was struggling, but now even if on my bad body image days, or like I notice changes in how my clothes fit, or we all have those days. I have to be very intentional about not saying anything out loud, because our children are they're watching. Everyone's watching, and even so like you said, modeling how we want, hope, and wish the society would be, because it can feel like, especially this season, it's felt really heavy. Like it just feels like it's everywhere. Like people, from celebrities to like people in your community, it just seems like it's kind of everywhere, especially this time of year. So
oh yes,
yeah,
New Year's resolutions will be coming up, so we'll see that all over the place.
Exactly. And like just finding, like for me too, like finding people I can vent about it with, like me and you, and like my people in my circle, like my family and my friends, and like even my therapist, when it gets really hard and heavy, like having somebody to process some of those things with, because although it's normalized, it's not normal. That's like, it's normalized, but that doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. It doesn't mean that we're doing anything wrong or anything crazy, or so yeah, I mean, that's how I reject diet culture. I reject it by offering a safe, like loving environment at home. And it's hard sometimes to speak up about when you're like in a social setting and people are talking about like, they're like on this diet, or someone DMs you and is like, hey girly, like you want to try my whatever 5-day cleanse. Sometimes it does, like sometimes you're just not healed enough, or maybe that's not your prerogative.
Yes.
But you can find ways to reject that and kindly say like, no, thank you. Yeah.
Yep. That advocacy part.
Yes.
And I think a advocacy piece for me when talking about messaging is getting back to the language of intuitive eating, which is based on your body cues, such as hunger or energy levels, paying attention to that, and not the external cues, because that's actually one of the repercussions of dieting, is that you get into those external cues of counting points and things like that. So it's no longer about what your body needs. Our bodies are very intelligent. They aren't going to lie to us.
No, exactly.
So, thinking of what you consume each day, it's based on your intuitive eating and not the external cues that come with diet culture.
And bodies are meant to change.
Yes.
Like I think as like women that are like aging, and I mean we're meant to age, and we're meant to change, and that's another, like diet culture and beauty culture kind of are sometimes interchangeable. And so like our bodies, and of course like early on intuitive eating is, I mean if you're in early stages of recovery, that's probably not, I mean it depends where you're at with your team, but that comes obviously later when you can regain your hunger cues and fullness cues. But it is like so important to just like trust your body. Like you said, your body is smart and it's worth taking care of, because that's what like lets us do all these great things in life.
Yes. Yeah. So we definitely did a deep dive in what contributes to diet culture and what we can do as individuals, not only to our own recovery, but the younger generation, just in your circles too, how you can stand up to diet culture. So
and I think this leads in nicely to our next episode. Like you mentioned, speaking about like advocacy, but that self-advocacy piece and setting boundaries, both can be helpful in combating diet culture and healing from it. So that's what we'll be chatting about. It'll be kind of like a 2-part episode, I guess, this time around. So it'll be a nice lead in.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
See ya. With honesty and compassion, Recovery Rising is here to remind you that eating disorder recovery isn't just possible, it's worth celebrating.
And speaking of celebrating, we like to do each episode each week of how we celebrate recoveries. Just little things, could be big things too, that help us just be proud of our recovery and helps us along with our journey. So for me, I just celebrated a birthday. And what I was grateful for that day was that I made it to this birthday because, as you're going through the midst of an eating disorder, you just don't know what the future is going to look like. So for me too, I'll just say it, I reached 47.
Oh my gosh! Happy birthday, Kelly!
Thank you. So I was happy just to be 47.
Definitely worth celebrating.
Yes.
Well, we just got through the holidays or enjoyed the holidays, and I would just say that's worth celebrating, is being able to be present, even though it's overwhelming, but being present and coping with those emotions, not through my eating disorder.
Yes.
So
that's great.
Yes. We'd love to hear how you celebrate your eating disorder recovery. So you can leave a comment, or if you'd like to message us privately, that works great too.